Hi, I'm Rana Safvi, and today I will take you to some venues that I associate with our freedom struggle and independence as a part of Goethe-Institut's freedom project, which seeks to bring a fresh perspective to the Indian freedom movement as we celebrate 75 years of independence this year. I am inside the Red Fort or the Qil'a Mubarak that was built by Shah Jahan in 1648, and I'm standing in front of a place where the Prime Minister hoists the flag every 15th of August to signify India's independence, and this fort is a symbol of our independence and of our sovereignty. Behind me is the Lahore Gate. This Lahore Gate was the principal entrance during the time of the Mughals and even under the British, and this is what was used for ceremonial purposes. And as you can see, the flag of India, the tricolour, is flying very proudly on top of it. This is the Red Fort, and I am standing in front of the royal apartments of the Mughal emperor. This was called the Musamman Burj, or the octagonal room. Bahadur Shah Zafar on 11th of May 1857 was sitting in this charoka and doing his prayers when he heard a lot of commotion and saw that there were soldiers, sepoys, cavalrymen from the 3rd Cavalry at Meerut of the East India Company, British East India Company, who had come and were calling out to him from under the balcony. So they came on the reti and they called out to him that we have come to you with our grievances. We are very unhappy with what the British East India Company, the way they are treating us, and we want you to lead us in our fight against them. And so this place is of very historic importance because this is where the first war of Indian independence started in 1857. And just here we are standing at the entrance of the Khizri Gate. This was just below the Musamman Burj, and it was from this Khizri Gate that Bahadur Shah Zafar also left on 17th of September 1857 after the fall of Delhi, because he did not want the British soldiers to come and devastate or to kill and create mayhem in the city because of him. We are standing now in front of the building that is called Diwan-e-Khas. This was also called Shah Mahal after Shah Jahan himself. In this particular very hall where Bahadur Shah Zafar himself would have held court and where the British officers would have come to pay homage to him, it is here that his trial was held. From January to March 1858, this is where he was tried for sedition. Sedition against his own empire. Verdict was that he is guilty and he was exiled to what was then Rangoon and Burma, now it's Yangon and Myanmar. In September 1857, after the fall of Delhi, the British army took over and the officers took over the Red Fort. 70 to 80% of the buildings inside the Red Fort were destroyed. First of all, to make these barracks, which you can see at the back, these barracks were made to accommodate the British soldiers, and also they wanted easy movement inside the fort in case there is another what they call the mutiny. So these barracks are now have become museums, and one very popular museum is the Museum of Independence. This Bauli predates the Red Fort. It was built in the Sultanate area, and they incorporated it and in fact used it also. It also has a lot of significance for our freedom movement because this is where the INA generals were kept. General Shahnawaz Khan, General Dhillon and General Sehgal were imprisoned and kept here in the rooms in this Bauli. The INA trials also took place in these the barracks of the Red Fort. Hi, I'm Rana Safvi, and just now we are standing at Nandi Hatti. India went through a very bloody partition. It's one of the most tragic eras of our history when millions were displaced. It also resulted in a changing of the history of Delhi. And one of the positive things that came out of the partition was that people from Punjabis from Pakistan migrated to India after the partition. And with them they brought their food, and one of these foods was Chole Bature, which has now become synonymous with Delhi. They came here after partition and they had a shop in Rawalpindi which they now replicated here. Today we are standing at the Mutiny Memorial. Mutiny was the word that was given by the British to the uprising of 1857 by the soldiers of the East India Company, after which they fought under the banner of the Mughal Emperor Bahadur Shah Zafar. Many Indians had joined in that uprising. On 14th of September 1857, Delhi was captured by the British, and that is called the end of the siege of Delhi, after which another year later the British prevailed and India formally became a colony after the proclamation of Queen Victoria. In 1863, this memorial was erected by the British government to mark the soldiers and the officers who had died fighting against the Hindustani sepoys. On the 25th anniversary of Indian independence in 1972, the Indian government put up another plaque describing the soldiers who were named enemy or called enemy on these plaques by the British as patriots who had fought for the Indian independence. So we are standing at a very interesting monument. It was built by Firoz Shah Tughlaq in the 14th century as a shikargah or a hunting lodge. During the uprising or the first war of Indian independence in 1857, the ridge was the place where the British troops were camping. And just behind this was a road where there were many skirmishes and a lot of people died. And near this is a jheel or a lake which is called the Khuni Jheel, because they said it became red with the blood of those who were slain in 1857. So this is a very important place historically as well as in our freedom struggle. Later on, it was used by George Everest also for some of his trigonometry designs and calculations. We are at the Qudsiya Mosque, the Shahi Mosque that was built by the mother of Mughal Emperor Ahmad Shah and Qudsiya Begum, and named after her. This used to be a garden where everybody would come, and the Mughals and the royals would come for entertainment and recreation. During 1857, this saw fierce fighting. It was under the command of the British, who put up a battery here, and you can see the marks of the shells and the pounding that it took. It is a functioning mosque today, and it's in a as-is where-is condition, bearing witness to the fight that was put up by the Indians during the first war of Indian independence in 1857. Just now I am standing in Hazrat Nizamuddin Aulia's Dargah, also known as Mehboob-e-Ilahi, and with me is Pirzada Sayyid Altamash Nizami, who is a direct descendant of Mehboob-e-Ilahi. Now, the reason why I chose this particular place as part of the Freedom Project is that it is said that Delhi, the reason why Shah Jahan made Delhi his capital and why the British also decided to make this the capital is because of the spirituality of this city. This city is associated with Nigambodh Ghat and the Pandavas. It is here that Yudhishthir came to do a yagna. And it is also associated with many Sufi saints, out of which 22 are said to be special, and this place is called Bais Khwaja Ki Chaukat. It is said that as long as these 22 Sufi saints are and their shrines are here in Delhi, nothing can happen to Delhi. And an interesting fact is that during the 13th century, when the Mongols were sweeping through Central Asia, they came to the doorway of Delhi, but they could not do anything to Delhi and they had to go back. With this, I end the freedom tour to the iconic spaces in Delhi, which I connect in my mind to freedom of India. I hope you all enjoyed it and had a good time. Thank you so much.